Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our gathering together online this morning as Mutley Baptist Church. It is Sunday the 22nd of March, and these are strange times because we're not able to gather together in the church building as we usually would, but we can connect together online, and it's really good to do that and really important to do that. We want to continue to feel like church and to be together as a church family in whatever ways we can. I'm really missing you all. I'm really missing being able to gather this morning, and I hope that you're all doing okay. This is our first attempt to do something like this online. We're keeping it fairly simple this morning. It's not going to be particularly visually exciting. It's just going to be me doing some talking. But I've just got a short reflection from scripture that I'd like to share with you in a minute. And I just want to bring you greetings and to say hi to everyone this morning. We're hoping that we can keep doing something like this each week, and we'll probably get better at doing it as we go along. So do bear with us and check the website each week so that we can stay connected. Beth and Simon are also posting content to keep connected with our children and young people. And we've also put together a worship at home sheet for anyone in our church family who doesn't have internet. Just sending them our love and prayers and some notes from what I want to share with you this morning so that they can also share in that. I'm really aware that those who don't have internet are going to find this period harder than anyone because they don't have that means of connecting. So we are trying hard to make sure that they also feel connected and that we haven't forgotten about them. If you are one of those who are following the advice to stay at home and not go out, then special love and greetings to you this morning. This is a strange time, particularly for you. It's a really strange experience, I think, to have our freedom taken away. And so to all of those who are in vulnerable groups and staying at home for this period, you're particularly in our prayers at the moment. And if any of you have felt lonely or anxious this week, please know that you are held in the love of your church family. And we do want to hear from you if you're finding this hard. Please don't feel that you have to be alone. Please get in touch so that we can care for you and support you. It has been a really strange week. Starting on Monday, really. I don't remember having a week quite like this one before, and we've spent most of this week coming to terms with a new reality and the impact that all of this is going to have on our day-to-day lives. And it's not just a temporary inconvenience that we're talking about. A lot of people are seriously worried and anxious about our health, the health of our loved ones, or our jobs, our homes and our futures. I think even the calmest ones among us have experienced flickers this week of feeling that the ground has shifted under our feet and we don't quite know what to expect. And probably the hardest part of all of it is the uncertainty, actually. It just feels like we're surrounded by uncertainty in every direction. Not knowing what will happen, not knowing how bad it'll get, and not knowing how long it'll go on for or when things might start to get back to normal. We all find uncertainty hard to cope with, and we've all just had a lot of our routine and the things that make us feel secure taken away. And as this week went on and I wondered to myself what I should speak about today, what message I should bring to you, my mind went to a verse from Deuteronomy chapter 33. And if you'll forgive my low-tech solution, I'm going to show it to you on my phone because I don't have a screen. It's this verse. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath are the everlasting arms. And I just want to share some thoughts with you this morning from that verse, which I hope will encourage you and help you this week. You know, when we're feeling fearful and anxious, when we're facing crisis or trouble or uncertainty, the secret thought that hovers for all of us in the back of our minds is, what if God has left me? What if he's abandoned me? What if he's not going to come through for me this time? Because other things are gone or uncertain. It can make us feel as though God may be gone or uncertain. But in fact, it's when those other things are gone that we can really understand the extent of his presence with us. So Deuteronomy tells us that the eternal God is our refuge. And out in the wilderness, the people of Israel, who this was written for, they had a lot of enemies. They were nomadic, out in the wilderness, moving from place to place, and they were exposed. And they frequently came under attack by enemies who came to plunder and to kill. And to survive, they needed a safe place to go, a refuge. And the refuge was a heavily fortified place, the most heavily fortified part of their camp, at the centre of the camp, where the women and children and the flocks and herds could go, so that they were protected and shielded from the attackers and from all that was happening outside. So a refuge was a shelter that they could run into when danger came along, and it was a hiding place where they could not be harmed by the dangers outside. So the refuge was a place of safety in the midst of attack. Our verse says that the eternal God is our refuge. And so does it matter that he's eternal? Well, yes, it really does. That is reminding us that the things that cause us difficulty actually are temporary. They are newcomers onto the scene, really. But our God is timeless and forever. Before time was, God was, and he will always be greater than whatever comes against us. And it's reminding us that God is not absent from the difficult things that come along in our lives. They haven't somehow fallen outside of his remit. God is not isolating himself from contact with us. God has not absented himself from what is happening just at the moment in our lives and in our world. It's not like we're just going to have to somehow bumble through without him and he'll meet us on the other side when we emerge from it. God is as present in this situation now as he has been in every part of our lives. And he is present with you, whatever your situation is just now. He hasn't gone away. It's just that our trust muscle is going to be tested, because suddenly it feels like a lot of our other sources of security have given way. God's sovereign purposes are still at work in all of this, even though they don't make much sense to us just at the moment. He's painting on a much bigger canvas than we can ever imagine, far bigger than our own individual perspective and our own lives. But that doesn't mean that his purposes are not sovereign for our individual lives as well. God works on the macro and the micro. He governs the universe, but he also sees and cares about you in particular and your particular life. The eternal God, he who is eternal and who is God, he is our refuge, our place of safety in times of trouble. And underneath you are his everlasting arms. And that's a very evocative image, isn't it, of falling, but falling into safety, falling into the clasp and the embrace of loving arms. The arms are underneath where we are. Underneath represents a place that we can't see. We can never see everything that is underneath us. Our view is always blocked by something, by the earth beneath our feet. But what's underneath that? We always associate what is underneath with darkness and the unknown, and there is a lot of fear for us in what we cannot see. When our security is taken away and everything that we had assumed would always be a certain way suddenly is not a certain way, that is very frightening, and it can feel as though we're falling. What was solid earth gives way beneath us, and we can feel like we're falling into the darkness and into the unknown. But this image from Deuteronomy assures us that in that falling we will land in the everlasting, loving arms of our God. He is underneath, in the sense that no matter how far we feel that we're falling, always his arms are still beneath us to catch us and to cradle us. And so in these times when so much is unknown and we feel afraid, I want you to know that you can never fall deeper than where his everlasting arms are. Always underneath us are the everlasting arms and the everlasting purposes of our God. And no matter what happens, we cannot fall outside of them. This is what we believe, and this is where our trust lies. Some of you are facing fears about your health or the health of your loved ones, and some of you are already experiencing loneliness and just the strangeness of staying at home and our normal routines and the company and the activities that we enjoy being stopped and being denied us. Some of you have very real anxiety about your finances and your job. Will you still have a job? Your home, your children, how are you going to care for your children while you're still trying to hold down your job? These are very real. The unknownness of everything causes a lot of fear and anxiousness. We're not quite sure what's out there in the future. And there's a sense of powerlessness, the sense that we're at the mercy of things that are out of our control. But in the times when we ask, is God there? We need to know that he is always there, underneath us, at all times and through all things are the everlasting arms, the everlasting purposes of our God who is eternal. And more than that, the everlasting purposes of our God who is loving, who is tender and compassionate, and watches over us through everything that we experience. The promise of God is not that every situation will be reversed, or that we will never know any pain or hardship, or that somehow our lives are going to be immune to everything that's happening to everyone else out there. The promise is that God is there, and God is enough. God is enough for us in that place. He is present and he's enough. It's not about getting our wishes and desires and hopes granted. Our focus is not on the answer, but on the one who is answering. Our trust is not in the answer, but in the one who is answering. He is the God that we trust. And when we come to know these things, and when we can come to rely on them rather than other things for our peace and security, then we can get to the place where we can say, God is with me. In human terms, the situation hasn't changed and the problems haven't gone away, but we have gained strength and courage and assurance. The situation may still be the same, but it's what's within us that has changed. We're all facing a lot of unknowns, a lot of uncertainties just now. But you can know this. You have a God who is present. You have a God who sees you, who watches over you. And whatever happens, we cannot fall to any place where his loving arms are not beneath us to catch us and to hold us. The eternal God is your refuge, and underneath you always are his everlasting arms. I pray that God will bless you all this week, and that you will know his presence and his assurance that he hasn't left you, that he is with us, and he understands our anxieties. But he is our refuge, and underneath us are his everlasting arms. May we all be able to believe that, and trust your fears and anxieties into his hands. God bless you.